Hello, my name is Tony Caraway Smith. I'm with Determine Your Destiny, and I am here today because I wanted to bring on a few of my dear friends, and I thought that we would talk about something that's very imperative in our community. I woke up one morning with a passion on my heart about women and women issues, of what they feel about certain aspects of men, and also I just thought maybe we could just do something and talk about situations for us if you're in a marriage, single, divorce, in a complicated relationship, what have you. So I brought two ladies on, Barbara, and also have Sheila is here to discuss some things with me in regards to what we may ask certain questions to men, to a man, or what we think that men want to hear. So I want to introduce my first guest, Barbara. I've been knowing her for quite some time now, and she's going to be talking on the aspect of being divorced. She's also single. Also Sheila, she's divorced as well and currently single, and we're going to be talking on that pretty much level. Don, he is my publisher. He's an author, a publisher, and he has a business where he do all type of different things. He ship pictures to Texas Department of Corrections, but I'll let him actually share that information later on at the end of this segment. So Barbara, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so I actually put it out there on Facebook, y'all. One night God had put in my spirit to pretty much just write a journal or a book, however it come out, and it's going to be something sort of what a man, a man's journal or a man's book, and it's going to be written from a woman's heart. So we're going to let the men know how we feel, what sometimes we think that you don't hear and you hear later on, or that you want to hear that we pretty much not saying clearly. So I just wanted to kind of ask Barbara and Sheila some questions, and they can ask me some questions, and Don can jump in and ask some questions and talk to as well. So Barbara,
Yes.
being divorced, can you kind of tell me a little bit of how I feel with your experiences and your questions and things that you want to kind of put out there, that you kind of sort of want to have a man, how we feel, how you feel, how you want a man to think, or feel about certain things.
Well, being divorced and starting all over, single, a Christian woman, it's hard out there because a lot of my men think with the opposite brain down there, and so it's like, trying to be single and not, trying to live right.
Yeah.
I've noticed just a lot of men just.
So you pretty much say they're attractive in for other issues and not just attractive for you as a person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you have to say in the aspect of what type of conversations as far as you feel that would help in that area? If a man come and approach you, what type of things do you normally just kind of say up front?
I mean, just, I don't know, basically we just talk, and I don't know, just everything seems to steer back to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no matter what conversation I come with, it always steer back, that talk about family, church, I would love a man to come visit my church, but it always goes back to that. So that's my biggest issue right now with men is, why everything always has to boil down back to being involved sexually.
Do you feel angry about it?
Yes.
And why?
Yes, I mean, because it's more, get to know the person inside. You have, that part will come eventually, but get to know the person inside, my likes, my dislikes. They ready to jump into bed as soon as you, talk to them or whatever.
Right.
A day or so or whatever. So get to know the person inside, and it's.
Yeah. Do you think that it's do you think there's your bow out there somewhere? Do you believe that?
Now you're about to make me cry.
Don't cry. It's not cry. It's a happy. It's going to be a happy thing. It's going to have a happy ending.
I am really struggling with that. I really am, because I mean, I'm at the point now of giving up. I mean, I'm thinking, is it a man out there for me? You know,
Yeah.
I'm a beautiful person.
Yes, you are.
Inside and out,
Yes,
and I
you
just
are.
don't understand why. What is it? Me and my girlfriend, we always talk. Glad you're doing this, because we're struggling. We just don't understand what men want. I mean, I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person. You know, I'm kind. I'm loving. I'm there for men. We just don't understand what is it that men want. You know.
Okay, Dawn, do you have anything that you could kind of piggyback on as far as kind of what she said a little bit?
Well, unfortunately, I do have to agree with what she was saying about the majority of men kind of think with their other head, and I think that the older on both parties, men and women, I guess they feel like what we feel like. Well, we're both older. We've been around. So it's really not seeing the point of wasting a lot of time. If I'm attracted to you, you're attracted to me, then let's get that out the way. It's kind of like, okay, let's get that out the way, and then we can, and unfortunately, that's just the sad reality of how it is out there, and I'm speaking from my generation. I would say between 35, 45, and a lot of us are kind of like still immature, very, very immature.
I actually seen you post something, I think it was last week, and something in the sort of what she's saying. Do you feel that men want to be committed in that age, in that statistical age range that you just gave?
I do. I'm just going to speak. I'm going to try to speak objectively, but from my experiences, because pretty much everybody that I'm associated with are in long-term relationships, have been in long-term relationships. Some of my closest friends, all of them are pretty much married, except me, but I've been in a long-term relationship. And so, yeah, most definitely, because being out here as a man, as a black man, we need that support. We need that support. And if you got a decent man, and I'll sit here, I'm the only man out here, and it's a lot of BS men out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you got a decent man that's about something, that want to do something, that want to build something, definitely he want his other half or his spouse to be supported.
Right. Yeah. Did you want to say something on that, Barbie?
Yeah. What age group did you say?
Well, I'm speaking from my age group, from 35 to 45. Okay. But I have I have 3 good friends in their 50s.
Okay. And see, that's me. I'm 49.
Okay.
And so I've been dating a little older, thinking they're much more established.
Right.
But they're worse than me. Oh my God. And see, when I started dating, I set the tone early. This is what I want. I'm dating for love, marriage, my marriage was, but that's what I want. And yeah, that's what I want. It's like they're not hearing. Yeah, I don't want that. But then, once you get to talking to them, it's like, can I come over? No, let's not come over. Let's go somewhere.
Right.
So, and I don't know, I have this thing about dating younger, but it's like maybe I need to date younger because, a lot of the older ones, they figure, I done been there, done this, they're hopping.
But I noticed that in society right now, in this world today, I noticed I have quite a few friends that's actually dating younger guys, older women dating younger guys. I mean, we're 10 years and more apart. And they get along fine. I have a friend that's married to someone almost 15 years younger. Wow. And they have a beautiful relationship. So I see that a lot. So, Sheila. Yes. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Okay, so divorced, single now. Let's hear from you. What's your input on what we kind of been sharing a little bit?
I believe on the subject of believing that there's a Boaz out there. I believe there's one out there for me. I have that faith enough in God that when the time is right, it will, be. And I just got out of a 1-year relationship, whereas the guy it was not even my intentions, because I had been celibate for 10 years. So my intentions was, not to date. I put my time into my work, my grandkids, and, my children. So dating wasn't even a thought in my mind. But through a coworker, I had met one of her husband's friends. And he and I just started off talking. Actually, I couldn't stand him because I thought he was a nerd. He would call me and I would just couldn't stand to talk to him. But after I started to say, okay, let me just talk to him. And we ended up talking, and from there we ended up dating. Early on, it was like, and he's 10 years older than I'm 55. So I felt like, well, he's older, why not? Maybe it is. So I ventured, say, okay, I'll let my guards down somewhat. But, early on in the relationship, like I told him, this is who I am, I don't play games. I don't run between men. If you want to be with somebody, tell me. I don't have a problem with that. It may hurt, but just tell me. Don't play with my feelings. And my friends used to say, well, he's too controlling, because, I would get off work. Oh, you didn't make it home yet? And, I was like, don't do that, learn to trust me. And after a while where I felt like I really cared for this guy, I actually fell in love with him. It's like, he started backing off from me. And I'm like, why? Because you pursued me, you wanted this relationship. We talked about it, a lot of times we would have talks, I would tell him, let's sit down and talk. He was not the type that liked to talk. And, I would explain to him how I was feeling or how I was perceiving things to let him know, because I feel like communication in a relationship, keeps some of the unnecessary problems down. But after a while, it just got
So in the relationship, was it more of him just stirring away or cheating, or was it?
No, at first it's like he was just always calling, always, wanting to spend time together. And it's like after I got to the point where I said, okay, I'm gonna let my guards down, it's like he started backing off. I started noticing a change in, things that, he was doing, and, he would always want to know where I am. Then I started thinking, why are you worried about where I am? Where are you? And later on, I started seeing patterns that, okay, you were trying to figure out where I was in case you were in the same area. Because one day I had come home from work and he had asked me, he said, were you following me today on such and such a road? And I'm like, following you? No. And later I thought about, well, it must have been a car like mine that he saw and thought it was me. But, come to find out, I speculated that he was cheating. And I felt like that I didn't get into the relationship to go through that, because I went through that with my husband and previous relationships. And after 10 years, I took that time off to say, God, I keep falling into the same pattern of men. I need to stop and find out who I am and what I want. And after meeting him, and getting to know him, I was like, okay, well, this must be the one.
Right.
And after, that year where I guess he saw that, well, this is the way I perceive it. I can't say what he saw because I can't speak for him, but I feel like that he felt me getting too close to him and he backed off. Because now that we're not in a relationship, I see him or he may call every now and then. It's like, oh, why are you doing this now? We're not together. But because when I felt like it was enough, I told him, let's just be friends, because we started as friends.
So is it anything that you think of now, the type of conversations that you wish you would have had with him, or things that you wish he would have done in the relationship after the fact?
Yeah, I think that I should have been more of a listener, not giving any, saying that he didn't do anything wrong, but I was always the one talking this, that, I don't want to do this, and I don't, we need to do this. Just talking about the relationship, but I never really stopped to listen to see what he wanted. It was always, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. And this is the last time we're going to have this conversation. But I never really tuned in. And now it's like, when I look back on it, I'm like, that was a point I could have.
Did you tell him that afterwards?
No.
Why?
Because we haven't really gotten to that
point, to have that conversation?
Not that point, but to meet where we can. Like 2 weeks ago, I ran into him, and we just had a casual conversation, but it wasn't the environment to sit down and talk about, the relationship.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. And what about you? Have you ever thought of anything, Barbara, after the fact that could have changed something in your relationship, or it was just over because of the way you thought the man was thinking?
Well, I mean, with my ex-husband, at the time I thought it was all him. But over a period of time, I know where, and I told him where I know I was wrong. I was controlling. I was, because I think I shared with you that I married my husband in prison. So when he got out, it was like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And why are you leaving the lights on? It was like, I've been in prison for the past 7 years. I have no control over lights. So, it's a lot of me, nitpicking. And, I told him, besides the stuff that he was doing, because he was doing some stuff, but I know that I played a part in the marriage being broken up.
With me, with my current situation, I am married. I've been married for 4 years, and I know you know my status, Barbara, and I'm not sure, Sheila, if you kind of know about it. Don, I've been going through. My husband, he's a recovery addict. He was on crack cocaine for 20 years, and so I went through a lot. Currently separated now. He walked out for whatever reason in April. I've been celibate since, so it's kind of difficult for me but I'm content in my ways, but it's kind of hard because I'm in prison ministry, and of course I come across a lot of guys and stuff like that. I've had guys that try to say certain things to me, and I agree with you. They focus on certain things, and and that's why it's important for me to come out with this forum, because I wanted to know what we can do as women to let the men know that we're here to love, we're here to listen. I know, so we want to listen to them. Don, do you have anything that you think that you want to kind of put in?
I want to use this analogy because I just had this conversation yesterday, right? And it's kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Jordan, the basketball player, the star, but when he first came into the league, he was losing, but he was like scoring a lot of points. And it wasn't until he started sharing, giving the ball up, and relinquishing control, and accepting that concept of team. And so I think that a lot of times for majority of our women, they've been doing things by themselves for so long, and then the past relationships or the things that they didn't work out, and it's like kind of hard for them to kind of relinquish that control. And Sheila, right? Sheila, you had said something that I was thinking about when you said that he become a controller because he want to know where you're at. I just think I think that's part of a man's nature. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's all of the time, because I've been getting accused of that. It's just kind of like, okay, and at the same time, it's a respect factor. Just a common courtesy to say, hey, well, I was over here, and it's not the fact that we want to know every detail, But at the same time, like I tell my significant other, hey, I need to know just in case something happens.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to know your every whereabout, but just in case something happens, I can know. So I just think it just, for us, just being that part of our nature, because, we protect it, like, we want to know so we could be, you know what I mean? But I just think that, women need to, and I'm not saying to know any man, but relinquish a little bit control, and it's like, I could be honest, it's kind of like stroking a man's ego. You have to kind of stroke our ego a little bit and kind of put us in a position to where we can be the man, feel like a man, and be the man. You know what I mean? And I feel like if more women to do that, then, and I'm not saying that none of these ladies, none of y'all haven't done that
Right.
or aren't doing that, but I'm just speaking as general. I think the results will be a lot better.
Yeah, because I know personally with myself, this time I've been really evaluating myself and on things that I've done wrong in the marriage versus saying he left me, So I'm like, had to look at all the things in my, like for instance, finances, money. I make more money in the household. My husband's retired, and I kept money away from him, and he didn't. Even today, I had to say, well, I was hiding money, putting money in certain accounts when, things like that, and so I know I need to work on that and forgive myself for that and ask for forgiveness, and go to him and let him know that's what I was doing, because I was bringing a lot of things in our relationship from, when I used to see my mom and dad do things, and I was being stuck up in that, and so I said, well, my daddy did it or my mama did it, so that's what I was doing, and so my marriage failed in a lot of areas because of that. So I know that we as women, we have to evaluate, like you were saying, Sheila, the things that you could have done, and we need to evaluate what we do. And me, myself, I'm just speaking on myself, stop being like a victim and saying it's all him, and just pin out what I'm doing. And maybe a relationship would be a lot different if we just kind of dig deep inside of what we're doing to, like if he's doing a sport or something, he likes football, you don't like football, maybe watch a game, or something. Just, compromise. We need to compromise more. Not saying that we're not doing it, but I just feel that we need to compromise more in a relationship. What you think about that? Yeah?
Yeah, I think the guy that I was dating, I think a lot of it in the beginning, because the person that introduced me to him knew him, and I didn't, so I was listening to, their opinion of what they thought he was. He was a good person. Yeah, he turned out to be a good person, but because I like to talk about situations, and when he wouldn't talk about when there was an issue in our relationship, I talked to a friend, a close friend who knew him and trusted her with things that I probably shouldn't talk to her about. But somehow or another, it was getting back to him, and it wasn't until after we broke up that he said something, and I was like, wow, you wouldn't only know that unless that person said something to her brother, which is tight friends with him. And I was like, okay, I need to reevaluate, because this person, single, really didn't have friends, never really had a relationship. It was just, guys that she had intimacy with. And I was like, and he didn't like me talking with her. And I used to wonder why, because they were friends before, and I thought maybe they had something going on, but both of them swore up and down they were just, friends. But because, somebody, one of the guys that she was messing with, broke it down to her, because she asked him, why does he not like her to hang with me? We don't be doing anything, And he said, a man that's in a relationship don't want his woman hanging out with a woman that's not. Because, you're known by people you associate with. I used to always tell him, can't anybody make me do anything that I don't want to do. I think for myself, because she does something don't mean I'm going to do it, but we were friends because she knew him before I knew him, so, I mean.
So was anything, did you pick out anything wrong after he said that? Like you could have changed something? Or?
Yeah, it actually happened on my birthday. I had a birthday party, you know, and he was telling me then that you don't need to hang with her. What had happened that he ended up barbecuing everything, and some of my coworkers helped pitch in with the decorations and the cake and all. She really didn't do anything, and he was like, you don't need to associate with her. She's not your friend. And
Yeah.
you know, we got into a big argument that night because I was like, don't tell me
Right.
who qualifies as a friend to me,
Right.
because you don't know what it takes, what I go through to choose who's a friend, because you know, it's not because you look at a person and say, oh, that person, you know, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt until you prove me wrong.
You're right.
But
Yeah, and I think like in a relationship, when you get to be in a relationship, I think there should be some type of privacy too.
Yeah.
It comes to that point, and I think when you're in a relationship, like for instance, if something's going on, instead of talking to, it's always good to have a girlfriend, you know, to talk to when you have problems. But it's always, I feel that it worked for me that I always go to my husband or, you know, I can say my husband, because I've been married with him for 24 years and I haven't had anyone outside the marriage. So I just think kind of not, and I'm not saying it's gossip or anything like that that we do as women, that we go and we cry on other people's shoulders, but I think men, with my personal experience, my husband never listened to me. But all of a sudden now he heard everything I said, like I was saying earlier, he heard everything I said for the last 24 years since we've been separated 7 months. And now he tell me some things that I forgot, you know, so it's like, why now, you know, so that's what I'm talking about, you know, just listen, I want to be heard,
yeah.
you know, so you have anything else you want to input on that, Barbara? No? Yeah. So we as women, we get hurt bad. And I could sense in with your situation, Barbara, you and you know, kind of had that experience, and it makes us bitter. And I just wish it to a point to where it's something out there. We're going to keep having these forums so we can talk about it, and we're going to bring some men on and we can talk about it, because this is something imperative that I think we need in the community, and to make us understand, you know, what's going on, why relationships fail, why they're not
But
working.
with me, I don't know, maybe it's bitter, but with me, it made me, my trust issue is like up here. And it's like, what's making it hard for me being single, I might say one little thing, and that's a red flag, and I won't talk to them anymore.
Yeah. So what happened, maybe in one relationship?
The guy that I was dating, the second one, with him, you know, I told him, you know what I went through with my husband, because, you know, he was in, that's why I waited till he was released to actually start dating him. The whole time he was there, we wasn't dating. We was just friends. Well, on my part. Him, he's in love, he's gonna get married, da-da-da-da-da. But I told him, wait till you're out of that situation, because I've been there, done that, I don't want to do it again. So, with him, once he got out, and my friends, that's why they don't understand why I was like that. I'm a patient person, but with him, I wasn't patient with him. It was like, well, my ex-husband did this, my ex-husband did this, and he would always tell me, stop bringing your past relationship into our marriage. So that was one of my biggest downfalls with him, with that relationship. I would bring it in. It's hard. I try not to, but it's hard.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I just hope this makes sense. I know it's just a 1 hour segment and what we're talking about, but it's just an opening and just a pre of what to come more, to have these conversations. Yeah, sure. And we're going to do more of this, and I hope that Barbara, you and Sheila be a part, and we can get together and you have friends come on, and we need to talk about this because we want to build a community with happiness. We want to build a community with love, and we want to, share with the men how we feel, and we want to also listen to men, and we want them to let us know how they feel. And Adon, you have something else to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, we all human. And I think that we have to forgive ourselves. I think that's the hardest part because, once you become an adult, you can't blame anybody else for your situation but yourself. And I think a lot of times we're hard on ourselves. I think we're hard on ourselves. So if we could just forgive ourselves for being human, wanting to be loved and giving love and not getting the type of love reciprocated back to us. And I think that's when we say, well, we have trust issues because of I trust this person and then he took my trust for kindness or misused me in a sense like that. We just have to really get with ourselves and have a real honest talk with God and ourselves,
Right.
and forgive ourselves. You know what I mean? Because we can't move forward in another relationship and we know that we're a good person and we know that we have something to offer if we want to, not forgive ourselves and bring that hurt and then bring that baggage into the next person's life. So I always, my philosophy is when any type of relationship, working relationship, friendship, or whatever business, I always try to make sure I impact it in a positive way.
Right.
So if I come out of one bad situation, I have to make sure, hey, I'm gonna leave that behind, and because I just like my name to be good. So
Yeah,
I say, well,
right.
hey, if I leave this person, I'm gonna leave this person. We're gonna split on good terms, but I want my name to be good. At least you can say, well, hey, it didn't work out, but he was a good person, etc. So, but we just gotta forgive ourselves. We human. We want to be loved, this, that, and so we just gotta forgive ourselves.
Yeah, that's good because I know that I love hard and I give my all. I always give my all, and I never given my husband the opportunity in previous relationships before I got married them to do anything because I'm like, oh, I'll do it. I was the yes person to do everything to make that person happy. But since my separation, I've learned to love myself. And when I've learned in the last 7 months to love myself, now I know how to love and I know how to be loved, and that's why this is probably being birthed right now because I didn't know how to love myself. So now I know how to love myself, and it's a good thing. So we're going to end it. And do you have any final remarks to say, Barbara? Anything you want to get out that you thought about on your way here, or when I told you about it, or whatever? Anything you want to say?
No, I thank you for doing this, and
Definitely.
I'm really ready for the next
Yeah.
one, and I hope that you can get men, more men, because I really wanted their input.
We'll have an interaction like that. Sure. Great. That's what I need to hear.
That would be good.
Okay, great, good. Well, just know that you are wonderfully and beautifully made whole.
Thank
God
you.
loves you. You are a beautiful woman, and awesome things gonna come to you. So just be patient. God knows. Sheila, what about you? You have any final remarks?
I just feel that, going into a relationship, a new relationship, like he said, you shouldn't take, your previous relationship. I went into the relationship because, like he said earlier, being independent, I'm used to doing things for myself, so I had to kind of back up and say, okay, let this man, be a man. And I used to always tell him, especially at the beginning of the relationship, I'm going to be a reflection of what you give me. What you put into me, I'm going to give back to you.
That's good. That's good.
If you give me love, I'm going to give you love. And I've never been one to go tick for tack. I've been hurt many times, and I used to always feel like I was the victim. And I was like, that's their loss because I know I have a good heart. I'm not a supermodel, but I have a good heart, and God knows that I have love to give, and if they messed it up, that's their problem. So I learned to love me for who I am, and not to say that I don't have faults, but
Right.
it's, you know, a give and take situation. You have to be willing to put into it in order to get out of it.
Right, true. I know mine's is fear. When I was in a relationship, fear. Yours, trust. And what you consider
Mine's
yourself?
was fear.
Fear, trust. Yeah. And we'll kind of have this again and go over this. And you have any final remarks, Adon, before we end?
Yes. First, I want to thank Miss Tony for putting on this forum. I mean, it's right on time. It's definitely needed in our communities. By me being the only man on the panel, I just want to say from a man perspective is that, you know, we are hurt. We are hurting as well. It's just that we wasn't taught. You know, we wasn't taught to show it. And then when we do hurt, we tend to take it out on the person that's closest to us. And the only time they'll be our spouses, you know, or our children or stepchildren or whatever. But we are hurting as men. We love our black women. I mean, you know, we just have to have more of this. We have to have more of this. I think that, you know, don't give up on us. It's a lot of good brothers out there. You know, it's a lot of good brothers out there that want relationship, that want partners, that want business partners and life partners and things like that. But I definitely was glad to be here. You know, I'm glad to be here, and we're gonna get it together. You know, if we can just have open dialogue like this, I think we're gonna definitely get to a place where we can actually heal. If we can be truthful with each other. You know, but men, we hurt. We just express it differently, and just because we're not, I think you talked about it, vocal. You know, we don't communicate it well. I mean, I just think that, you know, it takes time. You know, it takes time. So, you know, we're different. You know, they say we are different. We were raised up to be different, but. I loved it. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, we need to get into asking our men, and when we're in a relationship, what do they want? So they won't have to go out and venture and things like that too. It's another, but we'll get to that on the next segment. But thank you all for coming, and I really appreciate it. It was a good, like I said, it was an hour, but it was informative. And we're gonna have more of these, and we're gonna talk about a lot of different things. My goal was to have someone on this panel that experienced domestic violence, complicated situations, and I also want to bring a guest that I know that's living a lesbian lifestyle. I want aspects of why that person is, because I'm about building a community, as I mentioned, and I want to know how we can make things better in the community. So this is Tony with Determine Your Destiny Radio, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in. We will have more of these dialogues, and we will be talking more about family. We'll have the next topic will be more about domestic violence. I know that we just ended Domestic Violence Month, so it was very imperative that I put this on to talk about what we can do to stop the violence and build a community of love. And thank you so much, and God bless.